fact, you know what? Let's just jump right to the Board of Public Utilities. They can bypass us and go right to them. I know we have that website. And that's what they are there for, to educate the consumers, to help people better understand these issues. But help me on this, Ed. When you're out there and you're talking to municipal leaders, how much of it is an education job? All about education?
It's an incredible education. There was an interesting phenomenon when this all came about, when we had the influx of federal funds that supplemented some of the 40% of the whole incentive package. And they were actually ending up with an absolutely free $50,000 job for 2010 and up to $125,000.
Whoa, hold on. There's a lot going on here. That program up front, what was it that you were talking about?
The direct install program is the program we're talking about here. And this is, Mayor, what you took advantage of.
Exactly.
So you had everybody got a federal allotment, every municipality got a federal allotment of at least $20,000 that they were able to put towards their incentive package, which means that $20,000 is a 60-40 program, 60%. That means you got a free $50,000 job.
Nice deal.
People wouldn't believe you.
Is this in New Jersey, like there's got to be a catch?
There's got to be a catch.
But there was no catch.
There was no catch, but it was incredible how much time you wasted just trying to make people understand that.
Okay. What percentage of them did you get to understand it?
Once we got the flow going, and the first probably 10–20%, Lee, you were part of this, because we had to go out to the municipalities and send them, demand letters that they had to sign up for these things. But for a long time, I sat in front of a number of city councils explaining, and they wanted to throw Hutch out the window.
Oh, this is wild. And then I'm sure there was some buzz because some municipalities started doing it, right? And then they were, hey, wait a minute, if our neighboring town did it, maybe there's something to this. Is that fair?
Absolutely. We actually went out and sat with Gary Finger, who you saw in the intro.
Is that your ombudsman?
He is my ombudsman,
right.
Our ombudsman. We actually went out and met with school districts, mayors, local governments, and that's one of his functions. And a few would get it, get on board, understand that there were no strings attached. And yes, then they would talk among themselves, the mayor's meetings, the meetings of school executives, and word gets around. But I really have to give a lot of credit to the private side. They do an excellent job in marketing, selling, and educating. And we can spend a lot of money doing it. Government's good at spending money. They're not necessarily good at doing the nuts and bolts that business does every day.
Let me ask you a different issue here. And again, log on to the, is New Jersey Clean Energy website up there right now, guys? Lee, just check that out, make sure it's the right one.
Looks good to me.
Good. If you didn't know it, that would not have been good. I know you know it.
Looks good to me.
Let's try this. The whole grid issue. Can we, without opening up a huge Pandora's box in the time we have left, break it down? What's the grid? Why is it important? What does it have to do with this discussion?
Well, the grid is the interconnection of generation with customers. It's all the pipes and all the wires that gets the electricity from where it's generated to where it's used. We're part of a regional transmission operation called PJM. It's 13 states and the District of Columbia, including New Jersey, Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio. And when you do things that cut down the amount of energy being used at peak times, like during a school day, during a work day, it puts less stress on the grid and brings the cost down for energy to everybody, because the price of energy is highest at peak times, and peak times occur when people are working and at school and at work, and so we are cutting down the demands on the grid, which improves the reliability of the system. Because heaven forbid we overload the system, everybody should.
And that happened a while back.
Yes.
I mean, we're actually doing this program toward the middle of the end of the summer. It'll air after that, but my God, we just went through a horrific heat wave, and we're watching this again. Hopefully that's not happening again. But a few years back, there was a serious problem with the grid. Is that right?
Yes, there was. And it originated well, there was one that originated in the Midwest. Another one originated in the Northeast, and they were relatively...
Was it Ohio?
Yes.
We can blame something on Ohio?
Oh, I blame everything.
I just want to make sure. Trust me, they're blaming stuff on us, too.
But, yeah.
But we're all in this together. Is it fair to say? I'm sorry for interrupting, Lee.
Yeah.
We are in this together. To the extent that we're talking about this initiative here in New Jersey through the BPU, is that a model that other states follow, or are we following them?
We're absolutely at the forefront.
We are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When it comes to, you look at all the programs that we have initiated, whether it's for energy efficiency, solar, whether it's for in-state generation, New Jersey, California, Massachusetts, New York lead the pack.
We do. Let me ask you this. Speaking of leading the pack, I know we don't lead the pack when it comes to trying to fight home rule. So, and that's and coming together and merging and consolidating. Mayor, is this the kind of thing where your town could merge? And what's your population?
We're 16,200.
All right. For New Jersey, that's kind of big for some of the municipalities, but another smaller municipality, 5,000, 10,000. Is it the kind of thing where you can come together and jointly apply, or do you have to do it as an individual municipality?
I'm not sure if you
I
have
don't
to.
think there's anything prohibiting them from partnering.
I'm looking
to do
for
it.
partnering
I don't think
opportunities.
there's anything prohibiting them from partnering. But I don't know that there's actually an economic advantage to doing so, since the amount of money that would be available to them would essentially be the same. And we have had terrific participation. I mean, 85% of the eligible municipalities and counties are participating.
Go back again
some
now. I
way.
want to get that right.
Yeah.
To be eligible, you have to what?
Well, there are certain criteria in the program. I couldn't recite the.
Okay, but the fact is, of those who are eligible, who can
500
apply,
There were 512, I think, and 462 did take advantage of the program.
And some took advantage in both pockets,
Yes,
2010 and 2011.
Yes.
what's going on with the other ones?
Good question.
No, seriously, what are they? How are they explaining that to taxpayers? Listen, we don't need to do this. Hold on, I heard those guys saved like $100 grand in the next town over. Nah, we don't need to do it. Is that what? I mean, how are they selling
I think
that?
when they see there's going to be different people who are taking advantage of the press to announce that they have green initiatives. And I think without a doubt you're going to find people that are going to be sitting there, with people asking those questions exactly for the next town over.
One of the questions I ask these guys whenever I see them is, why aren't you in every single, not you individually, but why aren't people that do your work in every town, every school district, and every county? And Mike usually says to me, well, there's only one of me to go around. But there's a lot of good companies out there. And the answer is, I don't know, but we're getting close. We're close to having all of them.
We're trying
Jump
to
in,
take
Mike.
the excuses away. I mean, we've met.
Give us some.
Probably the most common excuse is it's too difficult to apply.
What?
To fill out the application. They're just completely consumed with keeping their budgets together and keeping their townships and keeping their school districts running. And for somebody to focus and navigate through the different application procedures, it is a little daunting. I mean, there are many, many programs. I mean, the good news is there's a lot of programs. The bad news is there's too many programs. And what happens is it's very hard for somebody to navigate. That's why the audit is a great starting point. Once you get that energy audit done, the auditor should be able to help you navigate through all the different programs, because there are school programs, there are utility programs, there are federal programs, there are loans. EDA has loans. Clean Energy has many different programs for many different sectors. So it's really difficult for the local governments to just focus and really get through the application process.
Well, why'd you guys do it?
Well, I think the administrator got a hold of the information, and then
Your town administrator.
Our town administrator.
That's a full-time, let's be
That's a
clarified.
full-time
In most
position.
Sorry for interrupting, Mayor. In most New Jersey municipalities, the vast majority, the mayor is part-time,
That's correct.
not paid a ton of money, and you aren't, why'd you have to laugh?
Well, you're right. Unfortunately, in
Well, you're not
most
gonna lobby for more money.
municipalities,
It's not
no,
gonna
I'm not
happen here,
lobbying
but-
for more money, but it rotates in.
I got it.
Okay.
So it could be the president of the council, okay. My point is that there's a professional administrator in your government, and that person started interacting with professionals and said, hey, let's do this.
Brought it to the council's attention. We said that's a great idea, and then we assigned it to our construction official, not a facilities engineer, but our construction official.
And then what happens?
And then he went through the program, applied, got the information, probably met with some people, and then started the ball rolling.
So I'm thinking about this. It doesn't, listen, I know the process is complicated because there is accountability and you got to make sure of a lot of details, because applying for grants, by the way, we do as a nonprofit as well all the time. But the fact is, it's not like every town doesn't have an administrator or manager. It's not like there's not a construction expert. The people are in place to do this, correct?
People are stressed doing their day-to-day jobs. I mean, to Mike's point, I mean, there's a lot there. Every capital dollar is spoken for. Every maintenance dollar is spoken for. What somebody needs to do is they need to take the time to be forthright and think down the road a little bit for their savings, and take those dollars and redirect them to something that's being handed to you right there in front of you.
2 minutes left. Solar, give us something else. In the 2 minutes we have left, what are the other areas in terms of savings for municipalities and other hot areas that in the next 3 to 5 years are going to be really hot? Let's go.
Well, number one would be combined heat and power. And
Combined heat and power.
yes, and basically what that means is you generate your own electricity, and it's generally for bigger facilities, hospitals, college campuses, large, even some large school districts, county complexes, prisons. So what you're essentially doing is generating electricity on site, and then instead of all that hot gas that would go up the stack, we use a heat exchanger and we take that energy and we use it. So in the end, we are twice as efficient as what a conventional power plant would be.
What else, Ilya? What are we talking about here?
Well, we have solar. I mean, there's solar programs available. There is a subsidy called an SREC, a certificate.
SREC, we've talked about that a
that
lot.
helps finance the project. But most of any distributed generation that is both efficient and clean is desirable because it reduces energy costs, cuts down pressure on the grid. It could be geothermal, it could be biomass, it could be combined heat and power, which is really a big deal in light of gas prices these days. But energy efficiency in general, and there are many different ways of financing it, whether you're on the residential side, commercial side, or industrial side. And if they simply go to our website, they can look at all the different programs. We're trying to push clean and distributed generation for the reasons you mentioned, take pressure off the grid and cut down energy costs.
15 seconds left.
I would take and do all your energy efficient measures so you're not building a solar plant that's taking care of a load that's bigger than it really should be.
Good stuff. I got to tell you something. You talk about clean energy initiatives for local governments. It's not only important environmentally, it's important to save money for cops and firemen and teachers and others. Great job.
How about it?
Thank you.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 20 years of broadcast excellence, and 13 for WNET, NJTV, and WHYY. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities and New Jersey's Clean Energy Program, St. Peter's College, Barnabas Health, and Sun National Bank. Promotional support provided by NJ Biz, All Business, All New Jersey, and the Star Ledger and NJ.com, Everything Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios. Don't miss Steve Adubato and co-host Rafael P. Rahman each week on New Jersey Capitol Report, airing on NJTV, 13, and WHYY. Check your local listings.